Good.
Good.
When it comes to Mahomes and kind of trying to keep him contained, it looks like he's run a lot more this year. Obviously, his offensive line, he's missing some guys. But what do you think of the matchup with Patrick?
I'm obviously a supremely talented quarterback, very unique in how he operates in terms of all the off-schedule plays he makes and his ability to make explosive throws from outside the pocket, from anywhere outside the framework. So obviously a huge challenge for us this week for sure.
How tough is it to lose a guy like Tim Settle?
Yeah. Sad news. Tim was playing really good football for us and is having a really good season. So obviously, hurting for him and what he's going through. But it's unfortunate this time of year, and that's part of what we're doing. And we'll have guys step up to replace him. But for sure, was playing really good football for us, particularly in the last few weeks. Has had a really good stretch there for us. So close.
Not that easy. Part of what they've always done is the pace. One big play and then pace leads to another. How do you kind of combat that? And how much do you kind of work on that during the week, recovering from the inevitable plays that their offense will make?
Oh, why are they inevitable?
I would assume they're going to complete something.
All right, yeah. I don't think there's anything I think it's just, I would say the way we operate in general is just in terms of like resetting after every play and focus, and then high alert just for communication standpoints. I think we've been pretty solid all year in terms of tempo stuff and being on the ball and getting in the right calls. You know what I mean? Sometimes that's just to get you kind of off balance a little bit, and I think our guys are do a really good job of just sort of resetting play to play. So we have to have just awareness of like, we can't be talking or worrying, or like our eyes got to be on the huddle and what's coming at us. And as they're getting on the ball, like as coaches, we got to try to work to get the calls out to them that we want to get them in, and or have them coached up on, hey, in these situations, this is what we want to get to if something goes sideways. So we'll be ready to handle whatever we need to.
I'll rephrase, if they were to make a play.
Thank you.
There
Sure.
we go. How's that?
That's fair.
Is there anything that Kansas City does offensively that we, the regular fan, doesn't pay attention to or recognize that makes them so successful?
Yeah. I don't know what the regular fan, what would you say?
We always ask you about Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
We all get that and see that.
Yeah, but I think that I would say that's a very unique relationship, and I think when you talk about the off-schedule plays and the scramble drill and those sort of things, like I don't know how to like sort of classify it. It's just different and it's unique because like sometimes you can't even tell what routes that are being run, you know what I mean? And so like when you're breaking games down, you're saying, oh, they run these routes and these concepts, like, and Kelce's got such an innate ability to uncover and get open, and to have that paired up with a quarterback that can find them and understand where those pockets are going to be is like very, very unique. You know what I mean? Like it's just, I don't think there's anyone else in the league that operates the way they do when that happens, when the play gets going and play breaks down, like the receiver's ability, particularly Kelce, to find the spots, and then the fact that Mahomes can find those throws and know where they're going to be. Like it's just, it's hard in terms of how you're trying to like get attached and get on guys, because they're just not like in the common spots, and how they have that connection to say like, I know he's going to be there and I can make that throw, or I know this is where it's going to show up, or where this receiver's going to be. Like we got to really work to get attached when we're in those situations for sure.
Hey Matt, you guys have had some guys go out throughout the season on defense, injuries part of the game.
Sure.
But the defense continues to do what it does. I know it's next man up so much, but how does that speak to the depth of just the way that you guys kind of approach preparation?
Yeah, I would say both. I would say obviously like we've tried to build a roster that has depth and that can withstand some of the stuff, because there are going to be injuries as the year goes on. And honestly, I would actually say it's a credit to our position coaches as well. Like you'd have to ask the players, but I feel like we give the same amount of attention to everybody on the roster, practice squad guys that just come into the building from other teams or whatever's happening. Like we try to do a good job of coaching everybody and dedicating time to everybody to make sure they're all prepared. So when those situations come up, it's not like a guy's just been on the practice squad for a couple months and hasn't been getting coached. So I think the position coaches do a really good job of coaching their entire groups from top to bottom and prepping everybody, because you never know what play in, play out who's going to have to step up for. So I would say it's a credit to the position coaches as well.
You all didn't have Jalen Petrie in either of the two matchups against Kansas City last year. with talking about some of those off-schedule things that they kind of do over the middle of the field, how much does having him help defending against?
Yeah, I mean, he's a good player, obviously, for us. So it's obviously good to have good players back for us and playing. So, yeah, I think just that core of sort of underneath defenders for us, the linebacker level, Petrie, and the safety level, like that's where a lot of that stuff's happening. I mean, our corners are our corners and whatnot. But I think having a guy with his speed and tackling ability, because again, a lot of it's going to be tackling in space and those sort of things. That hopefully is a huge benefit for us.
To that elusiveness that you mentioned, in the way in which off-schedule plays can be so damaging. Is there any way that you can try to replicate that, or try to have somebody who can run around like that?
Yeah, I mean, we just try to like incorporate some of it. I mean, like I said, I think it's a very unique style the way it happens. I mean, everybody can get out of the pocket and run scramble drills or off-schedule plays, but because of the uniqueness and trying to pinpoint how it's going to be and where sort of those bodies are going to show up and how we have to get attached to them, I think we try to coach through that, and hopefully we just have some awareness. I think it's really just raising your awareness of that, and obviously tying the rush in terms of trying to not create enough, direct escape lanes for him to get out quickly. It's going to be our challenge.
Does that benefit you guys in any way, knowing you faced somebody similar who was good at that than Josh Allen?
So we'll see. I'll tell you Monday morning. Is that it? All right, guys. Sure. Thank you.
When it comes to Spags, what are some things that you see from him that may be unique compared to some other defense coordinators?
Yeah, I mean, he's very multiple, aggressive. He's been doing it for a long time, experience, and I think that his guys are coordinated, disguises, stunts, pressures, etc. Does a great job.
Going back to the last game, the next to last offensive possession, going for it on fourth down. D'Amico said that he liked to push on third down, and he wanted to go for it on fourth down. I think the phrasing he used was "run it again." Did he say we'd like the same play again, or he wanted you to get that yard?
Yeah, we were talking about the same play. I mean, we had success on the first two. Thought we had a good push actually on the third one. They marked it short, and is what it is. So had confidence to go out there and do it, and unfortunately we came up short on that.
How did you come about developing that play and deciding on Cade for that role in that situation?
I think Cade had had history doing it, dating back, at least working through it at Ohio State, and always have researched that for a couple of years. And we had a lot of guys that have done the same thing on our staff, so it's kind of where the origin, I guess, the genesis of it was for us, and just trying to find an alternative way to give us an opportunity to convert a first down, really. And Cade had experience with that too.
What do you see as kind of the key to that play being a successful play consistently?
Yeah, I think you gotta be able to have good pad level. You gotta have good inertia and surge off the initial wave on the line. You got to be able to find the soft spot and be able to press and push. So
at the end of the first half, I know JJ was on the broadcast. He said he didn't understand the plan. What was the plan there?
Yeah, the plan was to end the first half with points, and just not dissimilar to the week before in Buffalo. Similar situation, timing-wise, may have been a little bit different in terms of seconds or whatever, but to be able to, get our drive started, we were going to be in our normal mode, and then we were going to kick it into our 2-minute mode. We didn't convert the third down, so I think that might have altered the approach from there, unfortunately. Didn't execute.
First play, I think the confusion is after the first play, it was 41 seconds from the next snap, and then you ran a play and it was 25 seconds. So Is that executing the plan as like 41
I
seconds?
would say this: the first one, the first play, we're going to be in our normal offense in that situation. Every situation's different. We did, and then relative to that second one, had an opportunity, hopefully to get to the sideline. I could have probably done a better job, maybe given in hindsight a better play than obviously to not gain enough yards and not get out of bounds. So if I could go do it back again, I certainly would on that second play. But ultimately we were going to start in a normal mode and go from there when we felt it was time to go do that. So
The 41 seconds is
just
according to plan?
Yeah, normal operating procedure in terms of huddle operation.
What are you seeing from this offensive line? Why are they starting to finally have success with this unit, and what took us so long to get to these guys, you think?
Yeah, I think they've continued to get better at just fundamental football. In the run game, I think our double teams and combinations have gotten better and improved steadily. And I think just time on task, trying to settle in with the guys that are in there now, just more time at doing it, honestly. We've improved on that. I think in terms of the pass protection, the cohesiveness, starting with communication and being on the same page, those guys have done a really good job of just working together, communicating so that we're all coordinated in terms of our distribution in the pass pro. So when you couple that, run game, pass protection, I think we've made some strides. We still gotta make some more strides, but I've been pleased with the improvement from that standpoint. We get a lot of extra work at practice, do a lot of stuff fundamentally in terms of blitz pickup, et cetera, and I think it's starting to show improvement at a good pace. We just got to make more.
What's the crowd preparation for the atmosphere at Arrowhead, and how vital is it you guys avoid those pre-snap penalties?
Yeah, clearly you want to avoid all the pre-snap penalties, but it's a hostile environment. You crank the music up as loud as we can possibly do it. You try to make it as hard as you possibly can in practice. You'll never be able to probably simulate exactly what Arrowhead's like. It's a great atmosphere for football, and it's going to be rocking. So you go back, and the biggest thing is huddle operation, getting in and out of the huddle quickly, good communication, getting our feet set, and being able, verbally and non-verbally, to be able to communicate in a setting like that. For sure.
Sticking with the offensive line, what allows for this pass protection to be able to have success against blitzes, stunts, kinds of things? Titus was talking about yesterday about having answers for those kinds of things.
Yeah, well, I think we stress communication. We stress seeing it through the same set of eyes. It starts with our mic point and our declaration, and then everybody else being able to communicate and know exactly what we're doing. Leave nothing to chance, communicate, and then be able to make our calls accordingly. We want to protect inside out, and we take a lot of reps in terms of blitz pickup, stunts, pick stunts, games, et cetera, like that. So it's like anything else, you got to work at it to improve it, and that's what we're still trying to do.
Nick, I remember you talking earlier about being with the Rams during a 2-6 start. How much did you draw on that in order to try to improve the offense, and how did you, if you did, draw on that experience?
Yeah, I think that experience for me the last 2023 and 2024 was, we kept working on. We were process oriented, and we talked about this and we discussed it in here. Obviously, we all want to go out there and win every week. But in terms of having a clean process, being able to clean up mistakes, being able to practice and focus. You may fail fundamentally on a certain play or a technique, but if your process is right continuously and you're willing to improve and you're willing to learn and work at it, you can make steady improvement. And that was what I took from that. We continually tried to refine and clean up mistakes throughout those years, no different than what we're doing now. And just like here, we had coachable guys that took coaching, coaches that no one had any egos here, no one had any egos there, where you want to sit there and find out what you can do best, what can work best for your guys, and you try to put your best plan forward to help that, and you're in it collectively together. And as long as you continue to work and eliminate mistakes and build upon the stuff that you do well, I think you'll show improvement. And that's what I think that happened in 2023. That's what's happened here. We have guys that care, they're coachable, and we're all trying to grow each week and just be better versions of ourselves here moving forward, all of us. So that's what I took from it. Just have our process, understand what we have to clean up, and there's plenty of that we still have to clean up. And we can. We just got to continue to move forward with it.
Like, when you see yourself losing, is it difficult to stick to the process instead of trying to change things how they are?
No, it's not difficult to stick to the process. Sometimes you have to adjust and you have to alter your course, or it might not be whether it's schematically or something you may have to do a little bit different pertaining to who you got. You adjust that, but in terms of being honest, looking at it and lifting up the hood and seeing, what are the issues with things? How do we improve them? Can we improve them in certain situations? And if you can't, then you got to find alternative ways to do it. And you start there and you go forward and you put your egos aside. And when, everybody wants to do what's best for the team, and that's what we got a group of guys here to do. So no, and I think we've evolved throughout the year, from start to, till now. And, I'm sure we'll continue to as we get going, whatever's, unforeseen out in front of us.
On those same lines, during the in-game process, as far as what you see and what Davis see or what CJ see, how do you all make those type of in-game adjustments like that, especially if you all are seeing two different things?
Well, we communicate, we don't ever take for chance that we are seeing two different things. I mean, I hope we're not, if we are seeing two different things, we discuss it and we arrive at a solution. But every time we come off the field, we're going through our series, we're going through, the calls, the front structures, the coverages, the execution or lack of execution, and what the reasons for that are. And you try to chart your course, make adjustments, clean things up, communicate with the staff, with the players, to be able to put ourselves in the best foot forward, to go out and take the field and rid ourselves of maybe some mistakes that had happened, to try to clean some of those things up. But it all starts with communication and just transparency and being on the same page. And and we are. It doesn't mean somebody might see something that's different here or there, and we talk about it and go from there. But it starts with communication. Players, coaches, everybody on the same page.
What is
there were times last week against the Colts where they were doubling Nico, and it looked like times they were using that to free some other guys open. What's kind of the balance of trying to use that to free other guys open, but also still wanting to call plays to get the number one receiver the ball?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think you go into it and you're not sitting there trying to necessarily make anybody a decoy. We try to put together a plan that gives, our players opportunities to go out and have success. Nico's a very important person and player to our, obviously, organization. So, but we also feel that guys that are in the other, eligible spots to be able to catch the ball, you're also putting everybody in the position that we feel utilizes their strengths, skill set, based on personnel group, et cetera, style of play, whether it's pass types, et cetera. So I think those are the biggest things, is trying to not have a one trick pony at one spot and then you don't have a viable option. Try to have pure whether it's a pure progression with backside complements. So if you're off your first and second read, you have things that you like pertaining to the coverage structures that you're going to see in the passing game. So we're always mindful of that when we build the plan. And I think it's a testament to the skill players. And we've got a deep receiver room, tight ends, backs that have all contributed, all those guys, and obviously the quarterback, CJ, done a good job really distributing the football and being disciplined.
What is Dalton Schultz's, what is his impact on this offense? Maybe not just on the field, but in the meeting rooms and everything else?
Yeah, I mean, he's a pro. He's smart. He's extremely savvy. He understands the big picture. He sees the game through the lens, the big picture lens, not just in the call it tight end box. He's one of the smartest players that I've had an opportunity to work with. I have a lot of respect for him. He cares a lot. He works really, really, really hard. He's here early. He's here late. I have all the respect in the world for him. And I think when you've had a successful career and you've played as long as he has, and he goes about it the right way, there's, to me, it's not by just a happening of why he's had success. And he's got character. He's great, leader for the guys in the room, and he does a lot for us in a lot of ways. And I'm proud of the way he's competed this year. I really am.
I talked to Nico last week and asked him just how he handles not getting the ball if he's not getting the ball, and how he goes about it. And he said he never views it about him needing to get the ball. As an OC, to have a star wide receiver that approaches it that way, how nice and helpful is that to you to do your job easier?
Yeah, I think it's a testament to Nico. He's a great teammate. He's extremely unselfish. He's a great player. And obviously he's a big part of what we do. And I mean, I think you see what you get with him every single day, and he's the same guy every single day. He's consistent in that approach. So it's why he is the person that he is. He's the player that he is. He's a great player, and he's a great teammate for us. Yep. Thank you, guys.
Okay, here we go. Okay, excited to go to Kansas City. Very happy for the opportunity and for our football team. We have to do exactly what we've been doing the last little bit here, play complementary football. And on fourth down, you guys all know, whether it's a cold game, a snow game, an indoor game, field position. So we're going to do our best. Dave Tobe, their coordinator, is the best return game coach in the NFL, and we have to make sure that we neutralize field position for our coverage units and then explosively on offense. It's going to start by handling violent players like Leo Chenal, Jack Cochran, Cochrane, Bassa. They really play with a brand of football that is emblematic of the Kansas City Chiefs. So for us, I'm excited for the opportunity, our guys, to go out there and step up to the challenge and make sure we match that. So let's go.
Hey, Frank, there were a couple of games that the special teams was uncharacteristic, not as solid as you guys had been. What was the difference? How did you turn that around and get back to being who we've seen?
Yeah, first off, anytime there's a mistake, it's the coach's fault. It's the coach's fault, man. We got to coach it better. Got to coach it better. We got to have more population to the football. We got to be putting the players in the right seats on the bus to go execute. And it sounds maybe it's a silver lining to me, and it's how I try to operate. We want to play every play perfect across the whole season. But when something does go like that, you got to have a chin. You got to be able to take it, and then you got to make sure at the right time you come out in a win. Thank you, great. Okay, let's go learn from it. And I think we've done that. We're able to make some adjustments and cover some things up nicely. I called it a week ago. So we're thankful to learn from that. Silver line is when those things happen that we still get a football team win, and that's all that matters. So, anytime there's something a little shaky, we're going to go and work hard to button it up.
Frank, go ahead, sir. What does your experience tell you about the cold, relative cold, with how it affects the kicking game? And what kind of process will you guys go through pregame to determine, hey, this is our viable range?
For example, to the reference on range for for field goals for the kicker, again, I'm always deferring to those guys. Nobody knows their skill set better than themselves. That's definitely a pregame thing. Let me give you an example. At Tennessee, we chose to take the ball so we could choose the direction in the second half as an example. Definitely knowing those elements are going to factor all situational football, punting the ball, going for it on fourth down, whatever. That's universal across all the NFL. For us, going to have great communication from the specialist to me to coach, be able to operate through that way, knowing that generally speaking, there's going to be a side of the field the ball will not travel as far on, and it's in the cold. So maybe, if the ball's not going to fly as much. That's just a reality, and we know that. We'll be prepared.
Frank, how much are you involved in the conversations when coach wants to be aggressive and goes for it on fourth down compared to maybe, kicking a field goal, taking the points?
Yeah, for sure. Always 2 ears, 1 mouth, making sure that we are a great listener, and then when it's time to interject and give input when it's necessary. But, coach obviously has final call on all those things, head football coach, but we definitely have conversations not only leading up to it throughout the quarter or the half, but the week leading up to it. We're going to make sure that we have all those situations that could arise. We talked about those, and that's an ever-going process from when the season has started, but each week's tailored specifically. Making sure that the most important thing is everybody is prepared and ready to go, whether it's myself, coach, the offense or the defensive staff, having all the information at hand quickly and accurately.
What was Kaime's comfort in terms of range last week in Indianapolis? And then was it the consideration before the half to even attempt a 64-yard field goal? Because he was trying on the side.
Sure.
What was your confidence level and his confidence level on that?
Yeah, well, I think it would be a little dependent on the second or third down, of course. But so he's always going to be taking that process, regardless of where we're at on the field. Once we start getting over there and our holder and snapper, they get some long snaps and then they get some short snaps as we progress on any drive. So that's always going to be the case for him. And then, we're going to be able to have our range at any point in time. But when things happen and they happen fast, we've got to make sure that we have a marked area for them. So we're almost there.
You guys moved up Amir's speed. What are some of the traits you see in Amir, including on that tackle where he fought through a couple of blocks?
Man, it's been a little bit of a carousel out there at the gunner position for us. Carter came up for a few games, goes down. Obviously, Jalen Smith, was pretty dynamic early on as a rookie, but it's a hard position to stay, on repeat. And you're asking to run the fastest people in the NFL over long distances a lot. And, that's when, I know sports science or whatever, like that's a real thing, being able to handle those strains on your body. So, we've had a number of guys out there. Amir got in the building on Tuesday, opening tackle against his old team. Couldn't have been happier for him, was special teams player of the week. Like, man, he showed up very in tune, very ready to go. 6'3", 4'4", 4'3" guy. Like, love that. And has experience at the position. He was able to come in and assimilate to our room right away. It showed on the first one. Then he actually had a shot tackle on that next punt that would have been a big game changer. I was happy he missed. That's okay, man. Go be aggressive. Make the returner check his feet. Entry angle, figure that out a little bit better to be a little bit more outside in. But, Aaron, me and you ain't getting an opportunity for the shot tackle. Amir Speed is, and I'm glad he does, So it's a skill set that only a few people have. Run and hit. Happy and lucky to have him here on short notice.
Coach, I know that you and Damian Pierce had a real special type of relationship. How good is it going to be to see him this weekend?
Yeah, NFL's tough, man. It's a tough business, and that we've had that multiple times of people coming and going. Thankful for I'm a teacher, but thankful for the relationship I had with all of our players. Damian, a special one. Wish him nothing but the best in KC, and we on Sunday night, we're on opposite sides of the field. Good. See you guys. Thank you.